Hi guys, welcome back to another video of Great Stack. In this video, we are going to learn React.js from beginning. We will learn all the important concepts of React.js like React components, how JSX works, rendering list, useState, useRef, useEffect, passing props, event handling, etc. We will also create a project that will be a to-do list app so that you will get the practical knowledge of React. After watching the single 1-hour tutorial of React, you can easily develop any front-end website in React like portfolio website, e-commerce website, and social media website. So now, what is React? React is a front-end JavaScript library that is used to build interactive user interface. Using React, we can create single-page application. So, what is single-page application? Let's take the example of YouTube. If we open any section, let's click on playlist. So, this website is not reloading and we have navigated to the playlist section. Similarly, if I click on community, we have navigated to the community section and the URL path has been changed without reloading the website. So, YouTube is loading only one time and we can go to any page without reloading the website. This type of application is known as single page application. In React, we use JSX, that stands for JavaScript Syntax Extension, where we can write HTML and JavaScript in single file. In React, we divide the website in multiple components that makes the website development much easier. For example, sidebar, navigation bar, header. So we can easily develop the website by dividing them in multiple components. In React, we work with props. Using props, we can easily send the data from one component to another component. In React, we also work with hooks and pre-built packages. Using that, we can efficiently create any React project. In the current time, React is a high demand and well-paid skill in the software development industry. So, in this tutorial, we will learn the important concepts of React and we will also create a project which is to-do list app. So watch this video till the end and let me know in the comment section which project you will create using React. So let's start with the setting environment for React. So first we will install the Node.js application. For that we will come to web browser and here we will search for Node.js. Now we will click on download link. Here we will download the installation file according to system architecture. So my system is 64-bit, so I will click here to download the application. Now click here to install this app. Now click on next, accept, then next, again next, again next, next and install. Now click on finish. Our Node.js application has been installed on our system. Now to verify this one, we will open the terminal and in this terminal we will add npm version. So you can see the version 9.7.2. It means the Node.js package has been successfully installed. After that we will create our first React project. For that we will use the white package. So here we will add npm create white latest. Now we have to give the name of our project. So here we will add first project. After that we have to select our framework. So we will select React. Then we will select JavaScript plus SWC. Now you can see our project folder has been created. Now close this terminal and open this project folder with VS Code editor. So more, open with code. Now here we will open the integrated terminal and here we will type npm install. Using npm install, it will install all the dependencies from this package.json. Now to run this project, we will type npm run dev command. Now our project is running. Just copy this URL address and open this in our web browser. So you can see our React project is successfully running on our browser. Now we will see how React works. So here we have the index.html file. Let me hide this one. Here we have one div with the ID root. And here we have the src folder and we have one file main.jsx. This main.jsx file is our entry point of our React project. Here we have React DOM, that is also known as virtual DOM. It is creating a root where we have document.getElementById and the ID is root. In this root ID we are rendering our components. So here we have the app component. If I come to app.jsx file, this app.jsx file is a function based component where we are returning the HTML tags, and in this HTML tag we are using JavaScript. That's why it is called as JSX file, where we can add the HTML and JavaScript together. So first we will clean this file and here we will use arrayfc. Let's remove this import. Now our project has been cleaned. Now we will see how to create the multiple components. For that we will come to src folder. In this one we will create new folder and here we will add the name components. Within this components folder we will create the multiple components of our project. So first we will create new file and here we will add navvar.jsx and the navvar file has been created. Now we can convert it into component using arrayfc. So we have two types of component, which is functional component and class based components. So we will be using functional based component in all our project. So we will use arrayfc. Let's remove this import. Now the component is ready and in this one we will type navvar. Now if I come to browser, there is no change here because we have not mounted this component yet. To mount this component we will come to app.jsx file and here we will add navvar. Select this snippet. After selecting it, it will automatically import our file. Now we have to close this component. / closing arrow. Now we will come to web browser. So here you can see the navvar. It is in the center because we have not removed the CSS properties. So come to app.css file and clear this one. Come to index.css file and let's clean everything from here. Now the navvar is on the top. Similarly, if I want to create multiple components like sidebar, footer, banner, for that we will create multiple files in this components folder and we can convert that file in component using arrayfc and we can mount that component in app.jsx file. After that we will delete this navvar.jsx file and remove this navvar. Remove this import. Now we will see how JSX file works. So in this function, before this return statement, we can write the JavaScript logic. So if I create let x is equal to, and here we will add any name, great stack. And if I want to display it on our website, so within this div we can use this variable. To use any variable in JSX, we will use curly braces. In this curly braces, we will add the variable's name. So we will add x Now save this, and if I come to the website, you can see great stack over here. That is coming from this variable. Now let's suppose we have array, and in this array we have 5 strings. User 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 users. Now I want to display individual users on the web page. For that we will use the map method. So here we will use the curly braces, and in this one we will use array dot map. In this map method we will pass one arrow function. Here we will send the individual user, then we will return that user. Whatever we will return here, that will be returned multiple times based on the number of users in this array. So here we will return one h2 tag, and in this h2 tag we will add curly braces, and here we will add user. Now we will get all users one by one, and we will return it in h2 tag. So you can see we have the user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4 and user 5. Like this we can render our components multiple times according to our data. Now we will see how we can do the conditional rendering. For that, let's clear this one, remove these variables and array, and here we will create two h1 tag. After that we will add boy, and in the second one we will add girl. And here we will create one variable, let data is equal to, let's add boy in string. Now I want, if the data is boy, then this first h1 will be displayed and the second one will be hidden. And if this data is girl, then the first one will be hidden and second one will be displayed. For that we will use the conditional rendering. For that, let's add the curly braces, and here we will compare our data. First we will compare the data using the ternary operator. So let's add data is equal to boy. If the data is equal to boy, then the first one will be displayed. So we will add it here after this question mark. If it is false, then the second tag will be displayed. So we will add it here after this colon. If I save this one and come to the web browser, you can see the boy is displaying because the data is boy. Now if I change it to girl, then the girl is displaying here. Now this data is getting compared here, and if it is boy, the first h1 tag is displaying. If it is not equal to boy, then the second h1 tag is displaying. Now we will see the event handling. So let's clear this one. Here we will create one button tag, and in this button we will add the button text click me, and here we will add one on click function. On this on click event we will run a function. So let's create one function. Here we will add const btn click equal to one arrow function. To run this function in onClick, we will pass one arrow function. Within this arrow function, we will call this btn click function. Here we will type btn click parenthesis, so this function will be called. So when this button is clicked, we will log one message in the console. So we will add console.log clicked. Now if I come to browser and we have the button here, let's open the console tab. And if I click on this button, you can see it is displaying clicked. If I click again, you can see it is clicked 2 times. Now let's create one variable. Let x is equal to 0. And before this button, I want to display that variable x. And when we click on the button, the variable value will be increased by 1. So here we will add x++. Now save these changes, and now you can see we have 0 before this button, and if I click on this button, if I click here, you can see it is displaying clicked in the console, but the value is still 0. So if I want to display this variable in console, we will add console.log x. If I click on the button, you can see it is displaying clicked and 1. If I click again, you can see it is displaying clicked and 2. So this value is increasing in console, but it is not displaying on the browser, because the React interface gets changed only when the state is changing, and we have declared it as a normal variable. So by updating this variable, our UI is not getting updated. For that, we will use the useState hook. So instead of this variable, we will use one useState variable. To create a useState variable, we will type const square bracket, and in this we will add the variable name. So the variable name is x, and then we will provide one function. So let's add the function name setX, and we will initialize the value using useState variable. So we will add useState, select this useState from the snippet, so it will be imported automatically, and in this one we will add the initial value of this x. So let's initialize this x with 0. So we have one variable x and the function setX. Now if I want to change the value of this variable, then we cannot change this value directly like this. We have to use setX function to update the value of x. So remove this increment, and here we will type setX function, and in this one we will pass a new value. So the new value will be x plus 1. If the x is 0, then x plus 1 will be 1. So this setX function will update the value of x. Now if I come to browser and click on this button, you can see the interface is also getting updated, because we have not added the normal variable, we have used the useState variable. Now we will create a new component. So within this components folder, we will create a new file, first component.jsx. Within this component, we will use RAFC. If this RAFC option is not coming in your VS Code, then come here in extensions, and we have to install one extension that is known as ES7 React Redux snippet. After installing this, you will get this snippet RAFC. Now click on this RAFC, and now we will mount this component in app.jsx. So in this div, we will add first component. Close this component. Now the component has been mounted. Remove this import, and now we will learn how to pass the data from one component to another component. Now we will pass this x variable that we have created using useState variable. To pass this x value in the first component, we will use the props. To pass the props, we will use data is equal to, and in this data we will pass the value of x. Save this file. Now we have passed the props data is equal to x in this first component. Now let me remove this x from here, and we will display this x using this first component JSX file. To get the value from the props in this component, we will add props. Then we will type curly braces, and here we can add props dot and the name that we have passed for our props. So the name is data. So let's add data. Then save this. Now you can see the number 0. This number is coming from the first component that we have mounted in our app.jsx file. If I click here, you can see the value is getting updated. Like this, we can pass our props, or we can also use the destructuring. To use the destructuring, Instead of this props, we will use the curly braces and the name of the props that we have passed. So we will type data. And here also we will write data. Now if I save this one, still you can see this number is displaying on the web page and it is getting increased, because we have done the destructuring in the props parameter. Now we will learn how we can pass a function using props. So here we have a function setX. Now we will pass this function using props. So here we will add the props name, that will be fn, and in this one we will pass the function, that will be setX. Now we will save this. Now we will destructure that function in this first component. So we will add one comma, then we will add the name that we have provided for that props, that will be fn. Now we have this function here. Now we will create one button, and in this button we will add the name set10, and here we will add onClick function. In this one we will pass one arrow function, and in this one we will call our function, and in this one we will pass one value, that will be 10. Now save this and come to the browser. If I click on click me button, then value is getting increased by 1, and if I click on set 10, the value of the data becomes 10. It means the function that we have passed through props, that is working successfully. Now we will learn how to use the useRef to get any element. So first we will clear this one, and first we will create one input tag. Type will be text, and after that we will create one button, and the button text will be submit. Now we have input field and button. Now I want to display the input field data in the console when we click on the submit button. For that we will use the useRef. useRef is a React hook. Using that we can take reference from any element. For example, we will create one variable const. Now we will name this variable inputRef equal to useRef. Select this useRef from a snippet, and in this one we will type null. Now we will link this inputRef with the input field. So we will type ref is equal to inputRef in curly braces. Now our reference is linked with the input field. Now we have to add a onClick event in this button. So here we will add onClick equal to, and in this one we will pass one arrow function, and here we will add the console log. So let's add console log, and in this log we have to get the value of this input field. So for that we will use inputRef dot current dot value. Now save this. Now if I add anything in this input field working, click on submit button, you can see it is displayed in the console. Like this we can use useRef to get the reference of any element. Now if I want to display only inputRef in the console and click on submit button, you can see it is displaying one input element where we have lots of methods and functions available. Now we will create one useState variable. So here we will add const, and in this one we will add one variable name data. Then we will add the function name, that will be setData equal to useState, and we will initialize with one empty array. We will render this array after this button. So here we will add curly braces, data, that is an array, then dot map, and in this map we will pass one arrow function. Here we will pass the individual data, so we will add the item and we will return this item in the s2 tag. So in this s2 tag we will add the item. Now we are getting one error, missing key prop for element. To solve that, we will add comma and index number of this item, and in this s2 tag we will add the key property, and in this key property we will pass index. Now the error has been resolved. Now in this array we don't have any element. Here also we don't have any element. Now what I want is, if anyone types any data in this input field and click on the submit button, that will be displayed below this input field. For that we will remove this console.log from this onClick function, and here we will add set data. So as it is one array, so we will use one spread operator. So in this one we will add a square bracket triple dot data, then we will append our input field data. So to get the input field data we will type inputref.current.value. Now if I save this one, and here if I type first and click on submit, it is displaying below this input field. So the text from this input field is getting saved in useState data. And by changing the state, React is re-rendering this and displaying on this web page. Similarly, if I type second, click on the submit button, it is displaying second. Using these basic concepts, we will create the to-do list app in React.js. First, we will clean this project. So we will remove this one and remove these variables and remove this import. Now we will delete this component folder and delete the assets folder also. Now come to index.html file. Here we will replace the title. So the title will be to-do list. Save this file. Now the React project is clean. Now we will create the folder structure for our to-do list app. First we will create new folder, and the folder name will be components. In this folder we will create another folder with the name assets. In this components folder we will create another folder with the name CSS. In the assets folder we will store the assets like images, text, and in this CSS folder we will place the CSS file of our components. So we will create the component in this components folder, and the file name will be todo.jsx, and here we will use RAFC to convert it into component. Here we will remove this import statement. After that we will create another component in this components folder, and the name will be todoitems.jsx. Here also we will use RAFC, and we will remove this import statement. Now we will create the CSS file for these components. So come to CSS folder, and here we will create new file, and the file name will be todo.css. After that we will create another file, that is todoitems.css. Now we have to import these CSS file in the components. To import that, we will add import. Then we have to provide the file path of the CSS file. So we will type /CSS folder/ and the file name, that is todo.css, and save this file. Now come to todo items.jsx file. Here also we will import the CSS file. So we will type import /CSS folder/ todo items.css and save this file. Now we will mount this todo component in the app component. Come to app.jsx file and here we will type opening arrow todo. Select this todo from the snippet and close this /closing arrow. Now the todo component has been mounted in the app component. Now we will come to todo.jsx file and here in this div we will provide one class name. We will add the class name todo. In this one we will create one div with the class name todo header. So let's add div.todo header. Within this div we will add to-do list. After this div we will create another div with the class name to-do add. So let's add div.todo add. Within this div we will insert one input tag. So let's add input. Type will be text. Then we will provide the placeholder. So the placeholder will be add your task. Then we will provide one class name. So the class name will be to-do input. After this input field, we will create another div with the class name to-do add button. So let's add div.todo add btn. And in this div, we will type add. After this div, we will create another div with the class name to-do list. In this div, we will map the to-do data. So we will add the CSS properties for this to-do class name. Come to todo.css file and here we will add .todo. Here we will add width of 600 pixels, min height 732 pixel, border radius of 20 pixel, background white, margin of auto, margin top 174 pixels and display flex direction column, padding 0 pixels and 44 pixels, padding bottom 30 pixels, margin bottom of 100 pixels. After that we will come to index.css file and here we will add some CSS properties for the body tag. So we will add the body and let's add the background, this color code, and save these changes. Now you can see the container here where we have the input field. Now we will add the CSS properties for this to-do header. So here we will add that class name to-do header. Here we will provide margin top 84 pixel, color this color code, font size will be 36 pixels, font weight 600, line height of 34 pixels. Now save these changes. Now we will add the CSS properties for this to-do add. Here we will add display flex justify content center, align items center, margin top of 45 pixel. Now save these changes. Now we will add the CSS properties for this input tag. In this one we have the class name toDoInput. Just copy this class name. We will add this class name here in this CSS file, and here let's add the CSS properties. Border radius of 50 pixel, background this color code, border none, outline none, width of 576 pixels, height 80 pixels, padding left 35 pixels, and font size 20 pixels. So this input field looks good. Now we will add the CSS properties for the add button. So here we have the class name toDoAddBtn. Write this class name toDoAddBtn, and here we will add border radius of 50 pixel, background this color code, width of 187 pixels, height 80 pixels, display flex, justify content center, align items center, margin left -100 pixels, color white, font size 26 pixels, and font weight 600, cursor pointer. This button is also looking good. After that we will create one useState variable where we will store our to-do list. So here we will add const, and the variable name will be to-dos, and the function name will be set to-dos equal to useState. We will initialize it with empty array. After that we will create one input reference for the input field. So we will add the const input_ref is equal to useRef. In this reference we will type null. After that we have to add this reference to input field. So in this input field we will add ref, and in this one we will type input_ref. After that we have to add the function for this add button. So here let's add const add equal one arrow function. Now we will execute this function when this button is clicked. Here we will add onClick event and pass one arrow function and call this add function within this event. So we will type add. Now here we will type set to-dos. In this set to-dos we will use a spread operator. So in the old to-dos we will add one object. In this object we will be having to-do number, to-do text, and to-do display. So first we will add number, and in this number we will provide any number. So first we have to add one variable, let count is equal to 0, and now we will use this count in the number. So we will type count. After assigning the count we will increase it by 1. Now we will type text. In this text we will save the values from the input field. So here we will type input_ref .current.value. After that we have to add display. For now we will use one empty string. Now this objects will get added in the to-dos. After that we will clear the input field data. So here we will add inputref.current.value is equal to empty array. When the to-dos gets updated, we will display that in console. For that, let's type useEffect, and in this one we will pass one arrow function. After this arrow function, we will add the comma and we will add the state name, that is to-dos. When the to-dos gets updated, then this function will execute. So here we will add console.log and we will print the to-dos. Using this useEffect, when the to-dos gets updated, we will log the message in console. Now save this file, and now we will come to the web browser and we will open the console. Now here we will type anything in the input field. Let's type first and click on the add button. You can see in this array we got one object. The number is 0, text is first, and display is one empty string. If I add one more, second, you can see in this array we have two objects. Here we have text first and text second. We have the number 0 and 1. Now using this data, we will render the to-do item component. So first we will come to to-do items.jsx file, and here we will add one class name, to-do items. Within this div, we will create another div, and let's add the class name to-do items container. In this div, we will insert one image tag. Let's create a copy, and in this image tag we will add one check icon and cross icon. So we have to import these icons. So come to assets folder and select reveal in file explorer. Here we have these icons. We will copy this one and we will paste it in our first project src folder, components, assets, and paste it here. So here in this assets folder we have 3 icons. Now we have to import these icons in our to-do items.jsx file. For that we will type import, then we will type the name of the image, that will be tick, from, and path of that image file. So here we will add / assets folder / and here we will type the file name tick.png. Similarly, we will import other 2 images. So in this one we will provide not tick icon, and in the second image we will provide tick icon. After that we will create one div and we will provide the class name to-do items text. After this div we will insert one image tag, and in this image tag we will use cross icon. Now we will save it, and in this div we will render the to-do items according to our to-dos data. So here we will type curly braces, and in this one we will type to-dos dot map, and in this we will pass one arrow function. and here we will pass the individual item and index number. After that we will return the to do items component. So we will type to do items and close this one. After that we will pass the props, and in this props we will pass the number, that will be item dot number. After that we will pass display, and in this one we will pass item dot display, and after that we will type text, and in this text we will pass item dot text. And here we will pass the key prop. So in this one we will pass this index. Now we will use these props in this to do item components. So first we will destructure it. Here we will type number, display, text. After that in this div we will use text and save this. Now we have the to do items rendered according to our to do's data. If I type here third and click on add button, you can see the data. We have the third entry, and here we have the to do list. Now we will add the CSS properties for the to do item components. So first we will add the CSS properties for the to do items class name. Come to to do items.css file, and here we will type to do items. Let's add display flex, justify content, space between, padding of 16 pixels and 0 pixels, align items center, after that we will add the CSS properties for the to do items container. Here we will type display flex. Now we will add the properties for the to do items text. Here we will type padding left 16 pixel, color this color code, font size of 22 pixels. Now we will add the CSS properties for the cross icon. So in this img tag we will add one class name, and let's add the class name to do items cross icon. Now just copy this class name, write it here. Here we will add cursor pointer, padding right of 25 pixels. Now after adding these to-do list, if I refresh the website, all things has been removed. So we have to solve this problem. For that, let's come to todo.jsx file, and here we will use useEffect. And in this useEffect, when the to-dos gets updated, we will create one local storage, and in that local storage we will store our to-dos. To create the local storage, we will type local storage dot set items, and in this we will pass the key name. So the key name will be to-dos, and in this one we will save the to-dos data. But to store the data in the local storage, we have to convert it into string. So To change it into a string, we will type json.stringify, and in this one we will pass to-dos. So when the to-dos gets updated, that will be stored in the local storage also. Now to check the local storage, we will come to browser and click on application. Then we have the local storage option. Click here. So here we have to-dos key and the value is empty. If I type first and click on add button, so here you can see the data has been stored in this browser. If I refresh the website, still it's get removed. To solve this one, here we will create one more useEffect. In this useEffect, when the page gets reloaded, we will get the data from the local storage and we will store it in our useState variable. For that, we will add set to-dos local storage dot get items. In this one, we will pass the key name, but this format will be a string. To convert it into JSON, we will use json.parse. So now we have two useEffects. To run this useEffect, first we have to insert the second useState code in the set timeout. So here we will use set timeout, and here we will set the timeout 100 milliseconds, and in this one we will use our statement. After that, we want this useEffect to be executed on page reload. So here we will add comma and a square bracket. Save this, and here if I add first, click on add button. So we have the local storage updated. Now if I reload the web page, still you can see the first, this data is available now. If I add the second one, second, so in this data you can see number for both the data is 0, that we are going to use as ID. So to fix this one, let's come back. After clearing this input box, we will add local storage dot set items, and in this local storage we will create one storage for our to-dos count, and in this one we will store the count variable. After getting the to-dos data, we will also take the count data and we will set it into count variable. So here let's add count is equal to local storage dot get items, and here we will type the key, that is to-dos count. Now we will save it. Now let's delete it and reload the web page, and here if I type first and add button, now the count is 1. If I type second, now the count is 2 and the number is 0, 1, and if I reload the page, still you can see the count is 2 and here we have 0 and 1. If I type third, now we have the different numbers 0, 1, 2. After that, we have to use this display property to display the tick and untick icon. So here we will use the ternary operator. Let's add display if the display is empty string. Then we will use the non-tick string. Cut this one and paste it here. If the display is not empty string, then we will return the second image tag, that is tick icon. Now save this file. Now we have the untick icons. Now we have to add the logic. When we will click here, that display property will get changed and this icon will be converted into tick icon. So here we will create one function and the function name will be toggle. And here we will use the to-dos data from the local storage and save it in the variable. So let's add let data is equal to, and here we will type local storage dot get item, and here we want to-dos data. We will get the data in a string, so we have to parse it. So we will add json.parse. Now we got the data. Now on this div we have to add the onClick event, and in this one we will pass one arrow function, and here we will call the toggle function. Now when I click here, this display should change. So for that, here we will pass the number that we got through props. So we will type number. Using this number, we will find that entry from this data. For that, we will use the for loop let I is equal to 0. And here we will add the condition I less than data dot length. Then I increment by 1. In this for loop, we will use if statement. Here we will type if data, and in this one we will pass the index. If data index dot number is same as the number, then we have to modify that data. So here we will add one more if statement, and in this one we will check data I dot display. If it is empty string, so we will change it and add a new value, and in this one we will type line through. Else, if the display property is something else, then just copy this one and we will make it empty string. After this else statement, we will add the break statement. So the task gets completed and it will terminate the for loop. We have modified the data. After that, we have to set the data in to-dos. For that, we have to pass the set to-dos function in the to-dos items component. So here we will add set to-dos equals set to-dos. After that, we will use the D structure. So let's add set to-dos. Now we will use this set to-dos after this for loop. Set to-dos, and in this one we will pass the data that we have modified. Now if I come to web browser and click on this one, in this data you can see it is displaying display line through. If I click again, it again becomes empty string, and you can see the icon is also getting changed from tick to untick. Now we will use the logic. When it is checked or ticked, then we will add the CSS properties of line through on this text. For that, we will convert this class name in template literal. We will add it in curly braces. Then we will use the backticks, and after that we will add the dynamic class name. So we will use the $, curly braces, and here we will type the display property. If we click here, we will get the class name line through, and if I click again, it will be unticked and we will not get any class name. Now for this line through, we have to add the CSS properties. So come to the CSS file, and here we will type dot line through, and in this one we will type text decoration line through solid, this color code, and 3 pixel. Now we have added this CSS properties for this class name. Now if I click here, you can see one line through effect on this text. Now the display data has been modified. Now if I reload the web page, still the data is same because we are using the local storage to save the data in the browser. Now we will add these properties for this cross icon so that if I click here, this entry should be deleted. For that, we will come to to-do items.jsx, and here we will create one arrow function and the function name will be delete. In this one, we will pass the prop that will be the ID number, and using this number we will find the entry and delete that. So first we need the data, so let's copy this one. After getting the data, we have to find the entry with the help of this number. For that we will use .filter method. So we will type data equal to data.filter. In this method, we will pass one arrow function. In this data, we will pass the individual to do, and here we will filter. If to-do.number is not equal to number, then we will save that data, and if this condition is false, then that entry will be removed. Now we will set this data in to-dos. So we will use set to-dos, and in this one we will pass the data. Now we will link this function in the cross icon. In this image tag, we will add onClick event. Here we will pass one arrow function and call that function, that is delete. Here we will pass the number that we got through props. Here we are getting, we cannot use the keyword name in the function name. So we will rename it. So let's change the function name to delete to do. And here also we will update delete to do. Now save this. And if I click on this cross icon, the entry has been deleted and it has been removed from the local storage also. Let's delete the another one. You can see the local storage has been updated and the to-do list has been removed. Now if I reload the web page, now we have only one data. If I add one more entry, to do completed. Now the entry has been updated in the local storage. If I refresh the website, still it is available. In this video, we have learned the basic concepts of React, and using these concepts, we have created the to-do list. So using these React.js basic concepts, you can create your own React project. So let me know in the comment section which project you are going to create. I hope this video will be helpful for you. If you have any question, you can ask me in the comment section. Please like and share this video, and also subscribe my channel Great Stack to watch more videos like this one. Thank you so much for watching this video.